Welcome back to another Sensei series. Now, first off, I apologize for the clickbaity title. I realize some of this stuff might not apply to you, and some of you might know some of these things already. But the title, 6 Things You May or May Not Know About the Music Industry That Could Potentially Apply to You If You're a Musician, is a garbage title. I should also note that I am not a lawyer, but I will post some references for each of the points. Here we go. 6 things you didn't know about the music industry that actually apply to you. Number 1, you cannot copyright a song title. Copyright law does not protect names, titles, short phrases, or expressions. This is why John Legend can have a song titled All of Me, which is also the name of a different popular jazz standard also titled All of Me. What does this mean for you? This means that you can write a song with whatever title you choose. Having said that, certain titles carry a fair bit of cultural weight. While legally you can go write a song titled Bohemian Rhapsody, I'm not sure that I would recommend it. Number 2, you have the right to record any song that has previously been released. This falls under compulsory mechanical licensing law. If you want to record a song that has previously been released to the public, nobody can stop you. Of course, you do need to obtain the proper licenses to release and sell covers. There's a flat rate, something like 9 cents per cover, that you pay based on recordings manufactured. If you're in America and you want to take care of this, you can do it through the Harry Fox Agency. And for my fellow Canadians, we take care of this through the CMRRA. And more details about this can be found on their respective websites. Now, if you're the writer of a song, keep in mind that once your song has been released, anybody else can record it. Of course, if it hasn't been recorded, you have the final word on who makes that initial recording. So if you put up a demo on SoundCloud or YouTube, it could be argued that your song has been released and therefore is eligible to be recorded by anyone. However, I would not discourage you from doing this. Get your song out there, get it recorded by others, get those sweet, sweet royalty dollars. Number 3, contrary to popular belief, there is in fact money in the music industry. There is so much doom and gloom in this business. The poor starving musician has got to be one of the oldest cliches in the book. But I'm here to tell you that there is in fact money to be made for those willing to go after it. The business was flipped on its head with the advent of piracy and streaming. So trying to make a career out of selling your CDs is probably not the best idea anymore. The internet crushed the old music business model and then became a huge part of the new business model. As artists, we need to use our entrepreneurial spirit to think of how we can take advantage of this new landscape. For example, we're going to see more and more sponsored content throughout our entertainment. As consumers, we might be annoyed by this, but as musicians, we can use this to our benefit. The internet gave us access to hundreds, thousands, if not millions of people with the click of a mouse. This was never available to previous generations, and if you can figure out a way to monetize this, it can be highly profitable. Making money online as a musician could be a whole video in itself. My biggest advice here is to be respectful of your audience, learn from what others have done, but at the end, everybody's going to need to pave their own path to success. I digress, let's talk about some other potential musical revenue streams. Film, TV, video games are huge businesses that are paying the bills for many musicians. Think about how much music you hear throughout the day on various mediums. For the most part, somebody's getting paid for making that music, and it could be you. Whether it be as a composer, having your band's song placed in a TV show, there's money to be made here, and it could potentially be a lot of money. I want to mention again, whatever way you do decide to monetize your talent, you need to be respectful of your audience or whoever you're selling to. Use common sense. If you find things don't work or they rub people the wrong way, learn from that. Like any other business, you need to build it over time. It's not an easy career, but if you're willing to be creative and resourceful, it can really pay off. I'm by no means rich myself, but I'm slowly working on it. Kind of. Number 4, you are protected by copyright law as soon as a tangible copy of your song has been made. Okay, we're going to step back into the boring legal stuff here for one more point. I've heard some musicians worry about copywriting their songs, sending a recording via registered mail to themselves, going down to the copyright office, stuff like that. Here's the good news, as soon as your song has become a tangible entity, it's yours. Assuming you didn't rip somebody else off to begin with. That could be writing the lyrics on a napkin, recording yourself on your phone, punching the melody into Sibelius, anything like that. Most digital mediums will have information stored in the file, time-stamping your creation. This, of course, could be used as evidence for when your song was copywritten. If you want to be really safe, email yourself that file, therefore there's a traceable record of your copyright. Having said all that, getting your song outright stolen by another artist, from my experience and from those I've talked to, is almost unheard of. However, getting a video stolen and re-uploaded somewhere else is something that happens all the time, but that's a rant for another day. Number 5. you are not going to be discovered. The classic tale goes of some highly talented yet unpopular band who's playing some dive bar, a record executive stumbles in, hears them, and signs them on the spot. Well, you could probably play the Lotto 649 and have similar odds. Yeah, this kind of thing can theoretically happen, but is statistically negligible. For every Justin Bieber that's discovered by Chris Brown on YouTube, there's countless others who are not. There's a saying that your name has to be heard 5 times before the music industry suits start taking you seriously. This means that people like me and you need to be out there generating our own interest before the higher-ups start taking note. I'm all about the do-it-yourself musician in today's economy. Any outside sources like record labels, publishers, multi-channel networks should be seen as things that can help move your career along, not something that can create your career. We are responsible for creating and nurturing our own audiences. I'm by no means highly popular on YouTube, but the success I have had has come from this mentality. So forget about having people discover you. Get out there and discover your fans. There can be an element of luck involved, but I believe that we need to create the environment to foster luck. If there's a 1 in 100 chance of getting that lucky break, then you need to get out there and generate 100 chances. You also need to make sure that when you do get lucky, your art and your business is ready for it. Number 6. The best musicians are not always the busiest musicians. Alright, last point here. We're in the home stretch. One of the weird things about music is that it's really hard to be satisfied with your playing. There's no real achievement or moment when you're ready to head out into the world. And I know for me, and as for most other musicians, we deal with a lot of self-doubt. It's natural to feel like you want to practice a little bit more and a little bit more until you finally feel ready. But here's the thing, you never really do feel ready. You kind of just get out there, start doing it, and eventually it kind of gets better and it kind of gets easier to do. Now don't get me wrong here, I'm all about bettering your craft. But I do believe there gets to be a point where there's some diminishing returns. And as busy people, sometimes that time is better invested elsewhere. Music is truly a relationship-driven business. So, a large amount of your time should be spent networking if you want to do this professionally. Now by networking, I'm not talking about handing everybody and their mother your business card, looking over everyone's shoulder for somebody higher up. No, I'm talking about developing real relationships within the industry. Writers' circles, open mics, checking out a local band, going to a jam. Those kind of places are great places to develop connections. Of course, you do need to be a competent musician doing whatever you do. You do need to log those hours honing your chops. But if I'm hiring a musician, I'm going to work with a guy who's competent, reliable, and can get the job done over the virtuosic prodigy who's got a big ego and may or may not show up on time. I've faced this decision many times in real life, and every time it's an easy decision to make. It's imperative that whatever job you do sign up for, you can get done well. But a key to success is finding a balance between developing your skills and developing your relationships. Okay, that about wraps it up. Keep in mind that a lot of the things that we've discussed today are just the beginning of deeper topics. The goal of this video is to get you thinking about some of these things, and hopefully you learn something new. If there's anything that you think I've got wrong, even just a little bit, please let me know. I always want to make sure that I'm presenting accurate information, so I'm more than happy to make some annotations correcting myself. The legal stuff that I've talked about today applies to the Canadian and American markets. I'm not totally informed on what happens in other places in the world, so if you do live elsewhere, I'd highly recommend that you look into the copyright law in your country. Also, keep in mind that I'm a musician, not a lawyer. Alright, to let me know that you've made it this far in the video, why don't you leave a comment with the keyword business? It's such a dirty word for so many musicians, and I don't think it needs to be. It's something that we should be continuously thinking about and discussing. And if there is a topic you'd like to hear covered on a future Sensei series, please let me know. I'm always looking for input. I've got a new music video coming at you next week, so please stay tuned. Until then, I'm Samurai Guitarist. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.